Hey, what's up, guys? Man, for my supporters, or the people that have been following me, I just wanted to, really say thank you, for just keeping up and see what I have to offer, see what I have to say. It's been kind of a long week. I started off. I just woke up one day and just started blogging, and just walking around videoing people, and really I had no direction on where I was going. But I had fun and I learned so much along the way, and then people started talking to me about this podcast still. So yeah, it sounded great to me. This, just doing podcasting, but I just want to put it out there. This isn't going to be like, I'm not really following any set of rules. Like, I'm allowing this to stay very generic. That's kind of the way I want it to be. So it's not going to be as clean as a lot of the other guys that you listen to. I'm kind of do that on purpose. I have contacts that can perfect everything, but I really want it to be genuine. So that's just the way it is. Anyways, so what I'm going to talk to you guys about today, it's just this idea, this concept that I came up with just through learning from friends and talking to people, is that there's this concept, and I call it the deception of perception. Give that to you again. The deception of perception. And what I mean by this is your perception is everything. It's everything. It's everything around you. The way you view the streets, the way you feel the wind, the way you talk to your brothers and sisters, the way you talk to your parents, what music you listen to. It's everything. Your perception is the world around you and how you interact with it. That's everything. So keep that in mind. Now also, take perception, and you got to ask yourself the question, how does one receive perception? I'd say we're creatures of habitat. That's our nature. We're creatures of habitat. So, the way you were brought up, your genetic, just your genetic code alone is a huge factor. The way that you're brought up by your parents, your upbringing, it comes down to the hurt, the pain, the things you've suffered through, what church you grew up in. If you didn't grow up in church, if what you were told about God, what you were told about God by the church, how you were treated by the church, those things are going to affect your view on God. What you're told about, marriage, how you see marriages work out, that affects everything. Brings in perception. Everything that you perceive brings perception. And think about the word perception. Perception. It implies something. One must ask, what does it imply? Well, I'll tell you. It implies that there's some kind of slant. There's some kind of trick to it. Some kind of skewed vision or something. It's perception. It's the way you perceive. You think about illusions. There's something to an illusion. It's just the way you perceive it. It's not real. You think about really magic tricks, anything like that. It's all about perception. It's not real. So you take perceptions and then you balance them in with your life experiences. That leads me to a conclusion. The conclusion it leads me to is that perception is not real. And the reason I can come to that conclusion is because there's one thing that is real, and that's truth. You see, you can't perceive truth. Truth has no perception. Truth is absolute. There is no, well, I perceive truth this way, and I perceive truth that way. That doesn't exist. That can't happen. It's just not the way it works. Truth is absolute. It's truth, period. So basically, if you base any of your life, so I think, really, you can come to another huge conclusion from all of that, that if there's anything you believe to be truth, if you trace it back and you think inside yourself, and this goes for me too, same experience with me, anything that I think to be true, if I trace it back and I know and I can see clearly, which I'm sure most of us can, the important things in life that we believe to be true is based a lot on our upbringing and our life experiences and our genetics and all those different types of things. It's based on perception. It's not based on truth. Truth is truth. That's it. It's out there. There is truth. And I'll give you an example. Let's say that there's a house and it fell down and there was 3 people. One of them says it just fell down. I don't know how it happened. It just fell down. Maybe the wind blew it over. The other one said that there was structural damage. And let's say the other one said it was a terrorist attack, just to keep things simple. Okay? They can all say that. And they all believe it's true. And to even make it more detailed, you can even apply specific stories and characters with those 3 people that have gone through things in life that led them to that conclusion on why that house collapsed. But at the end of the day, there's an ultimate truth. That house fell down because it didn't have a solid foundation. That's why it fell down. That's the truth. If that house was built on a solid foundation, it wouldn't have fallen down. 3 different people, 3 different perceptions, 1 truth. So you have to start viewing truth separate from perception. It's a mindset change. Another way to kind of, just give you an example of perception. You talk about drugs, and this is a really easy example just because of the fact that everyone is so decisive on what side of the fence they stand. They're either very for drugs or they're very against drugs. And I can get so far into this subject on drugs and basically, that whole social war on whether or not it's socially acceptable. But I'm not going to. But what I will say with drugs is drugs are drugs. Legal or illegal, they're drugs. That's what they are. They're called drugs for a reason, because they're drugs. And they're both called drugs. It's not just illegal drugs that are called drugs. When you go to the drug store, you're going to get drugs. They're just legal. And there's this perception out there that from certain groups of people that either all drugs are wrong under any circumstances for any reason, or all drugs are right for any circumstance or any reason. And then there's, the few people that have kind of some gray lines. But, the truth of the matter is there's plenty of studies, at least on specific drugs. Now, we all know there's certain drugs that are just not a smart idea to get into. Any types of speeds or heroin or, anything like that that's addictive that you can, become addicted to and do on a regular basis is there's no benefit from that. But in the medicinal world, there's shown to be benefits from both cannabis, psilocybin mushrooms, and ecstasy. Ecstasy, not what you're used to thinking of ecstasy, but actually MDMA, the pure form that has to be synthesized by a chemist that knows what they're doing. But there's been, there was a huge, so I don't want to get too far into it, but just real quick, there was a huge war between the psychiatrists and basically the DEA, where they were going back and forth to court, making it illegal and legal for a period of time. And the point is that these psychiatrists or counselors were finding out that they can fit 5 years of therapy into 1 hour of 1 hour session with the help of the drug MDMA, also known as ecstasy. That's tremendous. And I've personally experienced this in my life, and I can see how that can be true. And that's why I know it's truth, is from experience. See, perception is something that happens. Perception is something that is received by what's around you, the world around you. Truth is something you experience. It's something that just happens. All right, so from here, we've already talked about the deception of perception, and I'm a musician, and ironically enough, I wrote a song about this probably a year ago. I wrote a song, and really it was just kind of like a promise, I guess. But so I know everyone has their own personal beliefs, but since we're being open here, so I believe in God, and I'm a Christian. And one thing that you'll find with Christians a lot is they struggle with, how do I put this? Well, actually, it's not even just Christians. Even if you're not a Christian, really, I'm sure there's a time where you can relate. But basically, the big struggle with Christians, and a big struggle that I went through a while back, was whenever things weren't going my way, or whenever everything was going my way, I just thought God was the best thing, and I was so close to him. Again, perception. It's all about perception. And then if I prayed something and I felt like God didn't answer, or if I was hurt by someone who I looked up to that was a huge Christian or something, or if, I, trusted God to bring some finances and no finances came through, basically it shook me really, really hard, and really made me start doubting, what I believe, and why do I believe in God, whenever, things change. And really it's that whole perception concept. So this song is basically a conversation, and it's a conversation between me and God. And so I'm doing this totally organic, just playing live. I'm actually I'm sick with like a throat cold right now, so this could be either a really good thing because of the raspiness, or it could be a really bad thing because I can mess up a note because there's some high notes. But I'm just leaving it for whatever it is. I'm just going to keep it genuine. So it is what it is. But basically the first verse, I'm talking to God, and basically it's talking about whenever you're in his whenever you can feel him, and whenever you pray to him and you can feel him, or actually it's more about when you can't feel him. It's like I'm talking to God about I can't really feel you right now, so are you there? I'm doubting you because I can't feel you. And then the second verse is God talking back to me. So if I could stay here with you, if I never moved, I know in my head you said you won't leave me, but that's not the same thing that I am feeling, but I'm still feeling it. And I'm still feeling it. I trusted your love, if I trusted your touch, I know that you said, my child's my treasure, but I'm coming down now. So hold me together, and can you hold me now? And can you hold me now? And you said, I'm not. Wait a second, run that back. And you said, I'm not gonna let you down. You said, I'm not gonna let you down. Let that hit you one more time. And you said, I'm not gonna let you down. You said, I'm not gonna let you down, 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 down. So now he's talking to me. If you could stay here with me, is it even me you'd see? I tell you again, one more again, all you got to do is trust I'm within. You said, I'm not gonna let you down. You said, I'm not gonna let you down, 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 down. So basically what you're dealing here with in my world, and what I have experienced to be truth, is a man that has found truth and experienced truth, but is dealing with perception.